We know how much the internet has changed America, and we are already an open society. Imagine how much it could change China. Now, there's no question China has been trying to crack down on the internet. Good luck. That's sort of like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall.
Bill Clinton could not have been more wrong. The idea that the internet changed society as we know it is absolutely true, undeniably, but the expectation that China would not be able to crack down on the spread of information through this new digital pipeline would prove to be less than accurate. Today, I want to discuss the idea of internet sovereignty and make the case that this term, if fully realized, would be the end of gaming as we know it. Not just gaming, it would cripple the industries of e-commerce, entertainment, and a whole bunch of other sectors, but for the sake of today, I will mostly confine the topic to gaming. There are quite a few precursors we can look at right now that indicate the road down which internet sovereignty will take us, but before discussing those, I would like to define and explore the term itself. Internet sovereignty is a phrase coined by the Chinese Communist Party and published first, at least as far as I know, in a white paper titled The Internet in China. It's a lengthy document to read, I'll link it down below for those interested, so for the sake of time, I'll read the most relevant section right now from page 6 about what internet sovereignty really means. The decision of the National People's Congress Standing Committee on Guarding Internet Security Regulations on Telecommunications of the People's Republic of China measures on the administration of Internet Information Services, measures on the administration of security protection of the international networking of computer information networks, and other laws and regulations clearly prohibit the spread of information that contains contents subverting state power, undermining national unity, infringing upon national honor and interests, inciting ethnic hatred and secession, advocating heresy, pornography, violence, terror, and other information that infringes upon the legitimate rights and interests of others. According to these regulations, basic telecommunications business operations and Internet information service providers shall establish Internet security management systems and utilize technical measures to prevent the transmission of all types of illegal information. That was quite the mouthful. I probably misspoke at one point there, but basically you get the idea. Essentially, internet sovereignty, something that Bill Clinton did not believe to be even possible, is the endeavor to control what is and is not available to a domestic population via the internet infrastructure. The criteria of what is and is not permissible will be constantly changing, but largely based on the rule of law at that current time. And the rest of this white paper outlines with broad strokes and intentionally vague language the parameters by which illegal information can be defined. All in all, China made it very clear many years ago that their goal was to tightly control the flow of digital information in and out of their borders, effectively realizing and mostly achieving the term internet sovereignty. But their success in this field, as it continues to grow by the way, and the emulation of that behavior in other countries will likely begin to degrade the current norms for online gaming across a wide range of different genres. The best set of examples to demonstrate this are TikTok and WeChat for the United States and PUBG Mobile, as well as a host of other mobile applications for India. I recently covered how the United States would likely be banning not only TikTok, but also enacting sanctions against the WeChat parent company Tencent. Tencent has close ties to the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and through a variety of security doctrines, they are actually inextricably linked to the CCP in terms of what data can be shared for the purposes of national security. Basically, there is a fear that apps, programs, software, and even entire companies owned or controlled by Tencent can be used by China as an extension of governmental policy and efforts, leading to a reactionary tactic by foreign governments, especially right now, but I'll get to that soon, to limit the amount of access and usage Tencent-controlled applications are able to achieve in their respective nations. For the United States, so far at least, there have been directed sanctions against WeChat and TikTok after a delayed period of 45 days by executive order, yet to take place as of the making of this video right now. And there was an immediate concern from the gaming community that this would affect a number of high-profile developers, publishers, and titles, owing to the far-reaching investment and control that Tencent has built up in recent years. Temporarily, as of right now at least, this concern has been alleviated, but that does not mean the danger has passed, because recalling the term internet sovereignty, we realize that the endeavor to tightly control what digital information flows in and out of a country can have a multitude of applications. For example, China being the most advanced nation on Earth when it comes to internet sovereignty, we can see that they have banned most, if not all, major American and foreign websites as well, for that matter, in their territories. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, and more for social media specifically. YouTube, Netflix, Vimeo, Twitch, Dailymotion, and the list goes on at length for video streaming services. And the categories just keep on coming, such as news, cloud storage, blogging, email, and on it goes. The point is that they have achieved the term, and by doing so, they prevent almost any chance of a foreign government utilizing software or other tech services to scrape data or other information from their citizens. Here is where I give you the conspiracy disclaimer. I really have to. I am about to say a lot of stuff that people may view to be overly conspiratorial or unlikely, and I'm not sure how much of it I honestly believe myself, but the point is, it can be fun to embrace the speculation and connect the dots once in a while, so as we continue, please keep that in mind. Understanding that China has achieved, to a reasonable degree that is, the concept of internet sovereignty, and recalling that the United States has now taken several steps to engage in similar activity with specific regards to applications and programs owned and operated by Tencent, let's look at India. India is looking to ban over 45 more Chinese-owned and operated mobile applications, after already having banned 59 of them earlier this year, including TikTok and WeChat. Sound familiar? However, this round will also be removing PUBG Mobile, owned and operated by Bluehole, because Tencent has an 11.5% stake in Bluehole. This shows with absolute clarity that smaller percentage investments by Tencent in gaming development companies, like Bluehole as an example, when that partnership sees Tencent publishing the game internationally, can result in a ban. It is currently being evaluated by the Indian government, but as the restrictions tighten on Chinese published apps, even specifying those restrictions only against Tencent for right now, just for the moment, it becomes clear that the ramifications will be widespread. All of this, and again, conspiratorial, but I believe the reasonable indications are there, is likely based upon growing international tension with an eye towards actual conflict. India and China have been feuding at their shared border for decades, but only recently was there an incendiary loss of life that poured fuel on that fire. India is a country now banning dozens of Chinese-owned and operated apps, which have an impact on tens of millions of their own people. PUBG Mobile alone has achieved over 175 million installs in India so far. Meanwhile, America, currently engaged in an active trade war with China under the current administration, has enacted trailing measures and bans against WeChat and TikTok after a buffer period of 45 days. These are not the only countries, but with a huge, sweeping effort to reduce the operations of Tencent in their domestic markets, these superpowers appear to be posturing on the brink of their own version of internet sovereignty. It will perhaps look somewhat different in terms of scale and scope when compared to China, but their goal of achieving the concept still seems readily apparent. So why could this be? Well, the modern digital age has not only massively increased our day-to-day convenience, for one, it has also opened up an entirely new theater of war. The digital world and the flow of information can be controlled or weaponized, and the fear as of right now, at least in the United States, I believe, is that China is doing exactly that with the social media app TikTok. However, this is just one Chinese-operated program, more specifically a Tencent-owned or operated program, that exists in the United States. There are dozens of video games which fit perfectly within that definition. China already bans most American social media content and video games in their country. When they are not banned, they are partnered with a local publisher to distribute a controlled version, such as NetEase, for example, which distributes the Activision Blizzard titles, and this eliminates the concern of foreign manipulation or data harvesting. The reverse is not true. In fact, the reverse is actually completely inverted because Tencent has full ownership and publishing control in dozens of companies around the world. And going even further, American companies helped them achieve this level of digital control. In 2018, Google helped build a Chinese search engine, codenamed Dragonfly at the time, that would allow them to execute draconian internet control and censorship. The result was effectively an isolated Chinese digital ecosystem that interacts with the outside world purely through the exporting system, but does not import hardly a thing. It's difficult sometimes to think of digital goods and services themselves as exported or imported, but just the same way as physical resources, apps, programs, games, and other software are also an export or import depending on the nation. China has actual internet sovereignty while exporting tech. The United States and India do not have internet sovereignty as of right now and import a lot of that tech. With a new age of fully enabled digital warfare, I say enabled because the ability to leverage technology and digital information absolutely does exist and can be weaponized, but with a new age where this landscape of warfare is undeniably possible, nations like the United States and India are actively working to achieve some form of internet sovereignty. Additionally, these are not the only examples. February 2019, Russian lawmakers backed a bill to isolate the country's internet entirely. This was largely a response to the Trump administration voicing a commitment to retaliate both offensively and defensively to cyber attacks by not only Russia, but Iran, North Korea, and China. And still further, the 2016 US election, according to some, this opinion is largely split by a partisan divide, keep that in mind, was the subject of a controversy regarding foreign influence. It was claimed that social media platforms became a battleground of political propaganda, and simply focusing on the atmosphere here, the discussion of what is and is not true with regards to that particular topic would be a 10-part documentary and then some. We can see that the topic of internet sovereignty is increasingly relevant. But now I have to pose the question. What is the difference between a social media application and a video game with regards to security and sovereignty? One might say population, which is true. Social media sites like Facebook, for example, have way more members than any video game so far. Others might claim that social media allows a better platform to disperse information, also probably true. But specifically with regards to information security, what really is the difference? There might be more information on some social media profiles, sure. They might have higher security as a result of greater amounts of resources, absolutely. But there are plenty of mobile games, or PC games for that matter, where profile pictures get uploaded, where your email gets entered, an age check occurs, financial information for in-app purchases gets verified or entered, and so many other comparable data injections do take place with regards to an application that is owned and operated fully by the very same entity the government already seeks to undermine. The landscape of internet sovereignty in China shows us a distinctly different world. Some games have totally redesigned mechanical elements. Others never even get released or do so with an extreme delay. Simultaneously, some of the most popular games in the world are owned, hosted, and globally distributed by Tencent, which is effectively an arm of the CCP. In Russia, there have been steps to lock down the digital borders, same with India and the United States. But following this progression to its logical conclusion, the fear of digital influence and foreign control already is and will continue to result in banned media content for certain regions. Gaming as it stands today is a global affair. The network of distribution is global. The player base is mostly global. And taking this current snapshot of political tension alone, the effects of widespread internet sovereignty could be devastating for the video game market in certain areas. However, the vertical slice of time we are looking at here and now, where India and the United States explore the removal of Chinese tech from their ecosystems, where Russia locks down and China has already achieved mostly its original white paper goal, that vertical slice is just a fragment of where things could go. Imagine when political tensions rise with a different nation, an entirely different nation. Imagine if, in a world of internet sovereignty, just hypothetically, the United States were to be at odds for any reason with Japan. Would this then mean that Japanese apps, games, and software would be subjected to the same actions? If so, this would again radically change the landscape of gaming for the worse. Internet sovereignty, when applied globally, would fundamentally change almost every single digital industry across the entire world. It may not happen for years, it may not happen ever, honestly, but we can see clear steps in that direction from numerous powerful nations as of right now. And I believe it is naive to expect that those actions will suddenly decrease or disappear. But that's it. Point is, be aware that gaming is a subcategory of the digital world that will be tossed around in a typhoon of national security and data concerns as the concept of internet sovereignty gets explored further all over the globe. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a fun topic at the very least. If you want to support, there are links down below, and please consider joining and supporting on locals.com. It will be the platform I am the most active on from here on out, aside from video content. I mean, just answering messages, topic polls, etc., things like that. And it will help circumvent the issues of stability on YouTube. It's $5 a month, yes it is, never required, but always appreciated, and it will help ensure that the turmoil of AdSense and demonetization or YouTube algorithm shifts won't cripple the channel. Also, merch, social media, and another gaming YouTuber to support as well. It's linked down below, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.